Hello, Creative Crusaders. My special guest today is Anna Harold. Join me as we have a fun time discussing how she wrote her book, how she became dedicated to her life with horses, and helping other people heal. It's just been one of those big days where I'm just feeling like all these things open up within me, and this is one of the things I just get to do is chat with you. And so I'm
Excited.
so excited to be here. And if you want to just jump in being crazy, awesome, creative with me, I'm going to reach through my screen to you, and I'm just going to take your hand. And
Yes.
we're just going to we can just hold hands and feel that energy between us. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh. And just knowing that both of us are here for our highest good and the world's highest good. And I just invoke a song of generosity to the earth and all that's happening through her and with her, and in essence too in us. And just invoke a blessing on all of us and invite any beautiful beings of light that want to join along, any spirits, any guides that want to be here with us in our little chat tonight, to be here. Amen.
Oh,
I like to keep it simple, and
I love that. Thank you for that opening. That felt really good, and I could feel you.
yeah, good. I'm so glad, because I mean, we can have a lot of fun here tonight. I'm kind of leaping in, I'm jumping in, and I wanted to just kind of quickly introduce you, because no one here knows you yet, probably. So Anna Harold, I became familiar with you through the Absolutely Everything Pass with Kyle Cease, and you work with horses in a beautiful, beautiful way, and you have your own YouTube channel called Soul Horse Medicine, which I love that name. And you have a book out. If you want to quickly just talk about how that book came to be, and what initiated that within you, I would love to hear more about that.
Yes, of course. Actually, I think I have it right here. This is the book, and it's called
Wow.
Freedom from Stress, The Horse's Way, How Equine Facilitated Coaching Can Help You Heal and Thrive. And that book was a long time in the making for me. I think energetically it was floating around, and I was able to finally put some ideas together during the COVID shutdown in 2020, at the peak of COVID, when we were all tucked away in our homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to decide how I could move forward with my dream of opening up the space and my herd to people, but also knowing that I had to be a little bit careful. My work was shut down, nothing was really coming in at the time. So I started designing the book, and I found a beautiful writing program, because this was my first book, and I hope that there will be plenty more. But this program allowed me to work with a coach and put a book together, and they published it. They kind of did everything for me during this program. So it was a nice, easy start to a book. And what came out of it was a very accessible read, an easy read. So if people are unfamiliar with equine facilitated healing or coaching or anything involving the horse in their healing process, this was a way to kind of give a big picture of it, a very big general picture of what can transpire and what can be done with the healing power of horses. So I'm very excited that it's out there.
Oh, me too. I'm excited to hear. I hear when you talking about this dream that kind of was floating around, and suddenly it came to fruition. And I know a lot of people who listen in, they have their own dreams. They have, these things that are somehow floating within them. Sometimes they seem very like very specific, and they know exactly what it is. And other times it's kind of this general sensation or they know things that they love, but they don't quite know how it gets to be expressed,
Yes.
right? I mean, how did that come through you? Have you always known what that was going to be, or how did you see that?
I can totally relate to the idea of having this dream or this soul's calling that isn't really refined yet, right? And I can
Mhm.
still say right now, even though I may be going in a more specific direction, I don't know if it's ever fully refined. It's really about following the soul's calling. And for me, it wasn't very specific until the past few years. And when in 2017, I went through a really hard time, a really dark time. I was leaving my husband. I left. I left. So it wasn't
Yeah.
a nasty process or a nasty divorce. It was me realizing I needed to follow my highest. And it still was very heartbreaking because it made me look at all of the shadows within me. It made me face the guilt that I
Mhm.
was feeling for making
Yeah.
such a heavy decision. And during that time, I moved to an apartment in the middle of nowhere and took only what fit in my car and my animals. And I had to leave my horse and two miniature donkeys at the time, so a smaller herd. I had to leave them behind and just go visit them
Wow.
daily until I figured something out. And things started to just fall into place like little breadcrumbs, even through that hard, dark time, right? It's almost
Mhm.
like I started to realize the more I said, no, it isn't possible for me to bring my horses with me. Suddenly, my new landlord said, oh my God, I have an idea. Let's convert this backyard into a small paddock and you can bring your horses with you. Like,
Wow.
so much that I put resistance up against and said, it's impossible. It would almost be like the universe just threw it right in my face and said, watch me. It's totally possible. And so I think that that is part of how I started to learn to listen a little bit more to my soul. And for the people out there who are struggling with refining their calling, or they have that dream and they don't know how to step into it, it is just a step-by-step process. The little things that are coming together that you may not see in the big picture are bringing you closer to your calling, but they really
Mhm.
are. And that's kind of how I feel. I started to really feel like, whoa, I need to work with horses on a different level. I've always been a horse person. I've ridden since I was really little. I had, a very fortunate situation that my mom always supported me, even though we couldn't have our own horses and we lived in town. She
Mm.
knew this was my love and she found a way to pay for the riding lessons every week. And that's when it kind of started. And a
Wow.
beautiful aunt and also a beautiful uncle on the other side of the family. They both were the horse people who were guiding me to say, this is lovely. Let's get you riding. Let's get you around more horses. So, fast forwarding to a few years ago during that dark time, I needed healing for myself. And I think that's part of where the soul's calling comes in. Sometimes in those darkest moments, you need to be able to heal yourself and see what presents itself before you can even think about living that dream or stepping into your soul's calling for other people. And that's exactly what I did. I started to heal with horses on a deeper level than ever before, became certified in equine facilitated learning and coaching, and then took the past few years that have been very dark and very hard at times, like all of us during this COVID time and the world changing so fast.
Mhm.
Taking that time to say, okay, what calls to me? How do I find a way to heal with these horses? Got that certification. And now I've been just refining it within myself before I decided to step into it and offer it to the world.
Oh, I I really love what you're expressing and what you're saying, because I think for me and my kind of a similar path that I've been kind of walking through is, it almost feels as if, the more and more I walk it, the more it's like I'm coming to my own self,
Yes.
in a way that I'd never known before. And I think the tendency, and for so long, I would look out into the world, right? And I would say, how what can I be out there? And I would look for maybe an example out there, or I'd look for some confirmation out there of saying, oh, this is the place for you here. And the more and more I step into this pathway of really what I feel is my calling, it comes through me and my individual expression. And like what your individual expression showed up in was with horses.
Yeah.
And that's your unique individual expression. And so I think it's something that often humans do and that I've done in my life is I've separated that away from, I've separated that out when really it's all the same thing. There is a oneness that can be in this experience of how we show up in the world.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just love hearing your unique story in that, because I don't know if you were doing this. It doesn't sound like you were sitting there thinking out, like, well, what do people who love horses, what can they do? What specifically has been done before so that I can copy that? And it
Right.
doesn't sound like that's what you were doing. You were
Well,
kind
I
of,
do have to tell you, this is such an important conversation. I feel like I can
yeah.
feel the depths of this because when you mentioned that you were finding yourself looking outward a lot and almost like
Mm-hmm.
there's that energy of comparison, as well as like, how do I make what I have as a unique expression work by looking outward and seeing what others have done or getting to that level or whatever. I did that constantly. And actually, that was something that the past few years, I received that certification in 2019
Mm-hmm.
and kind of was okay through the rest of 2019 sitting on it because it was like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And it was all external. It was me looking outward at my teachers from the past or at other facilities in the area, other facilities out of the area. And all of a sudden, the energy of comparison snuck in before I knew it was, I was not conscious of it. I thought
Mm-hmm.
I was doing myself service by saying, well, I want to be the best at what I do for me, not in competition with others, but I want to offer the best that I can offer. And what that turned into was almost the shadow side of it, which
Mm-hmm.
was really about, oh no, my place isn't big enough. My place isn't fancy enough. I don't think that people are going to want to come here and work with the horses if they have to walk through some mud, or we need to fix this and we need to fix that. And it didn't even feel like my own energy anymore. It felt like what I was really saying to myself is, I'm not going to honor this path. And I was saying it to God and the universe too. I'm not going to honor this path and I'm not going to step into what I need to because it's not good enough. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't offer something good enough because I'm seeing all of these people succeed or have this huge following and have these programs set up. How do I even start? And I let that creative part of me, I don't want to say die, but it got squashed underneath all of these limiting beliefs about myself. And so I
Mm-hmm.
find it is really great to look externally if it's in the energy of still being very centered in who you are.
Yes.
And then being able to say, oh my goodness, I just got this major inspiration from this person who does this with the horses or does whatever. And then allow that to come in if you feel called and make it your own. But when it's really coming from a place of what is everyone else doing, that's implying that you yourself doesn't have what it takes on the inside to create something uniquely your own, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. And I think naturally, I mean, if you live in society, you naturally have an ability to kind of take information around you and kind of make adjustments and know how to do that. And I love how you talked about that differently, because the word that came to my head was comparison. And sometimes when one gets caught up in that energy of comparison, it it can bring a halt. It can bring a halt to things if there isn't the center within oneself and say, well, who am I in this? What do I feel most comfortable? What's my unique expression?
Yes.
What what brings me to that next level of joy in this kind of activity, right?
Yes. Yes. That's
And yeah, like when does my heart sing? When does this feel really good in me? And I chatted with you like a few days ago, and I was like, what what is your spark? You know,
yes.
where does that come from? And I know in a way this is a trick question, but I think you can come at it from many different angles. I mean, have you thought about that question, and what rose from you when I asked that?
Yeah. I mean, it does feel in a good way a little bit like a, excuse me, like a trick question because there are so many things that can bring me joy. And if I get in my own way and get into my analytical mind or sit in that smaller self that's afraid of stepping into the things that bring me joy, then even the most beautiful things that light me up don't seem like that anymore. There's like this cloudy veil over them. But the first thing that really popped for me, and I know it's a big shocker, it has to do with horses, but riding horses is, I can't describe the connection that I get with riding horses. I have a very deep connection with my horses, whether I ride with them or not. And in the work that I do, I'm an equine massage therapist, so I do support horses on all different levels. But I'm talking about when I just let go and allow myself to get on my horse. One in particular who's been bonded with me for a long time. And I'm literally able to just let go of all of the things that feel like they're weighing me down and all of the pain of day-to-day life of living this human experience and letting myself just go and ride, not like competitive riding. I did that when I was younger and I kind of just grew out of the concept, not judging anyone who does it, not right or wrong. It's just not my thing. But riding on trails, going into the forest, connecting with nature while on a horse, it literally brings me into alignment with myself. It's just that special thing that lights me up. And so the reason that it's a little bit of a trick question is that there are times where I can't necessarily ride. There are times where maybe the time doesn't allow, or, you know, I'm on a small piece of property. I don't have my own trails. So I'm depending on others who give me permission. And then we have hunting seasons and all of the stuff that I have, weather, I have to work around all of that. And that made me look deeper into what can give me the spark if I'm so codependent on that. I want to be able to release that and feel a little bit freer. So that's what I've actually been thinking about. And there are a lot of creative things I love to do when I can't ride. I love to paint, even though I don't know how to paint. It's fun for me anyway. I feel like a little kid in a creative class where I'm just making a mess and painting. Anything that makes me feel like my inner expression can just be free with no conditions. And so that's how I feel on a horse. That's how I feel around my
conditions. Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh, I love your answer. I love your answer. Anna, I am so thrilled. And I am offering something up to you, and maybe we can try this, because one thing that we have within ourselves, you talk about just kind of this alignment and this openness that occurs when you're on your animal. And one thing that we have all access to is really our gift of imagination. And you talk about your art and all of that, but not just our gift of imagination, but of our consciousness and what we can be within ourselves. And I just kind of want to have a little play here with you for a minute. If you want to, like we're going to go on a ride anyways, even if your horse is out in the stable and, and you can't, you can't be with it, or maybe it has a lame leg or something is going on. Let's just go into some imagination right now, and like if we want to close our eyes, I want you to imagine the perfect weather, whatever the weather is that you want it to be, and you can smell the air, what it smells like. Tell me, what is this perfect weather you're going to ride your horse in?
It is 60s and sunny and not too humid. Like everything's perfect. The bugs aren't really out. The heat isn't bothering the horses. The breeze is blowing. There's low humidity. It is spot on perfect.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I love that. And I just want you to imagine yourself on this favorite horse of yours. And if it's, if it's a little bit challenging, some people this may not be challenging. You can even just remember, I know how connected you are to your horse. Even just the idea of you placing your hand on that animal and feeling into the energy, the presence that's there, and just now imagining you being there with that animal, and just tell me the sensations you're feeling, like as you are with your most beautiful horse riding, the smell, the air, the thoughts, what you feel in your body as you are doing this with your horse.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And I love this, by the way. I'm right there with her. And there's a sense of deep, deep groundedness and aliveness at the same time. So it feels like all of my senses have opened up. So I'm in that multi-sensory awareness, just like the horse has, where I'm listening to what's in the forest. I'm listening to what's in front of me and behind me. I'm sensing almost as if I'm an extension of her. So not on guard, but very, very alive and aware and grounded at the same time.
Oh, beautiful. And feel free to just to travel for a little while, and tell me what you're experiencing as you go on this trail that you're loving with your horse.
Yeah, the sense of smell is very strong for me. So it is not just the air, but the soil in the earth and being in the middle of the forest, smelling what's coming up from the dead leaves on the ground and the branches of the trees and different scents just coming from all over, feeling very much connected to the earth.
Mm.
Uh, Definitely noticing different wildlife, like almost knowing that they're there before I see them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So great. What's so amazing in this space that we can be in, things can be so vivid, so rich, so exciting. And that's what I'm feeling now. Like as I'm kind of feeling this expression through and with you, is kind of this real vivid experience, being one with the nature and the world and the earth and your beloved horse. I'm loving it. Right now in my vision, since I'm here with you, I kind of have a sense of something up and to the right, and it seems to me it's some kind of a body of water. Do you see that up ahead?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small pond like in a clearing.
Yeah, I see that too. It's so,
Mhm.
so cool.
Love that.
Yeah, well, it feels like it's drawing. There's something about the life in that pond that's drawing me um, to it. Um, do you want to? Would you want like to go over to that area and see what
Yeah.
presents itself?
And what I can say is that this horse that I am on is also drawn to water, depending on
Mm.
the day and her mood. But we have gone swimming together many
Oh,
times, and that may be the draw that you're sensing too.
oh,
Yeah.
how fun!
Yeah.
Cool. Well, tell me all about it because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No, I love this. I love connecting. I love connecting in this way.
Mm.
Okay, so we come out of the forest and we open up into this clearing. And there's a couple rabbits at the edge of the clearing that kind of scatter. There's a couple white-tailed deer that scatter when they see us coming. And as we open up into this clearing and we make our way down to the edge of the pond, there's just beautiful sounds of nature. The peepers, I don't know if you're familiar with the peepers, but they're like these tiny, tiny little frogs that make amazing noises in early to mid-spring here, when things start thawing out and they stay for a little while. I can hear those. I can hear the bullfrogs.
Mm.
The cattails on the edge with the wind blowing is making a rustling sound. And we're close enough to the water where she's starting to paw the water and splash it just to get a feel for what's in there and probably just for play.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm right there with you. And I wanted to share with whoever's here with us and watching that one way that you can connect into these kind of journeys and experiences is making sure that you're breathing through
Yes.
the process. Sometimes, often we want to grab a hold of something, but as one breathes or as I breathe, the sensation gets to travel and move, and the story and the vision continues through the body and the system. So this is an opportunity for breath to be truly integrated into your experience, and it really can help support you along the way of any of these kinds of experiences that you want to have. So feel free to breathe in and out and release and let go, and just feel your body as it feels the flow of information running through it. It's so beautiful. I love that. Well, continue on. I want to your horse, just she seems to really delight in water and the play and the little splashing. I think that's so fun.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So we continue on. She doesn't really go into the water, just like
Mm-hmm.
on the day, and we're leaving that area, but further up, there is a larger clearing, and there's kind of a straightaway, like a nice, clean, cleared area. And her favorite thing in the whole world is to go fast, really like let go and go fast. So she's fighting with me a little bit, like saying, okay, we need to do this. We need to do this. And I can feel her energy rise. And it is the most powerful energy coming from like down in the earth, up through her legs, into her body. And there's a tension just waiting to be released. And I can feel it. And she feels that moment where I'm going to say, okay, I'm ready, let's go. And it's just all waiting to explode.
Oh, yes.
It's incredible. Yeah. So there we go. There we go. We are going just as fast as we can, as fast as she wants to. And you can just feel that release of energy moving through her. It's just so powerful. And it's an adrenaline rush for me. So now everything's changed into better hold on. And it's the most exhilarating feeling in the world.
Oh my gosh, I can feel that. Just so much, so aliveness, and just like my muscles were made to do this, like I like this body was formed and look what I can do.
Yes.
So
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. So we go as far as we can go and we enter the woods again. So it takes a lot to kind of slow her down and bring that energy down. But there's this big release of hers where every time, and this time too, she just takes this big breath and she blows it out. And it's almost like saying, thank you for letting me move through what I needed to move through. And then the energy comes back down and we are really grounded and we are cooling off and just enjoying the woods around us in the cleared path that we're walking on, and we're cooling down, getting calmer. And then there's just a serenity that's deeper than it was before.
Oh my gosh, yes, I can feel that. That's so beautiful. And I'm feeling kind of like this kind of going home
Yeah.
sensation,
Yes.
Yeah. And so this going home is kind of happening and kind of the settling back into, you know, where you keep her and all of that. But
Yes.
yeah, before you leave her, and I know you have these kind of rituals of how you care for her. I feel like one last beautiful gift that can be shared is that as you just prepare to leave, that you can place your hand on her, and if there's one thing that you could share with her from your heart, what would that be?
So my hand is on her now, and what I am telling her is thank you for opening up the part of me that I keep forgetting.
Mm, beautiful. And what is her response to you?
There is a silent openness of just knowing, like, of course, I got you. Like, this is what I'm here for, and this is what I do is open up those places in you. And it's a silent exchange, and it's absolutely beautiful and very, very comforting.
What a beautiful gift. I feel like there's almost this beautiful reflection and kind of contract almost between the two of you. It's like, I'm honored to be here and kind of and I acknowledge that I'm here for you and kind of this both mirroring for each other of that. It's
Yes.
so beautiful to feel that. For me, in my, I have a statement um, that that I say often to remind myself of the world that I walk in, and that's in my world. We are all cared for, and compassion reigns.
Mm.
And I'm feeling that caring between you two, and that kind of manifesting,
Yes. Yeah,
between the both of you. It's so beautiful.
absolutely. Thank you.
Well, as we just let's take a few deep breaths, and then we can thank you so much for that vision, and we can take a few deep breaths and come back to us together here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining me on that adventure, and thank you for I'm just so glad I got to do that with you. That's so
Oh, I
great.
am so grateful to have played with you like that. And there's something so powerful about uh it's not just visualization, it's when you are entering all of your senses, like you said so
Mhm.
beautifully a little earlier when we started, and entering the senses because you have the power of your mind has the power to be able to put yourself in any position you want, to feel it throughout your body. And doing something like that is just such a beautiful thing. I feel so grounded, and I feel like I really was there.
Yeah.
And it's something where I think that that can be so helpful for so many people to go to the place that lifts them up, even if they can't physically on this earth plane be in that place at that moment, or they need to feel grounded. I mean, that's truly
Mhm.
a type of meditation, and it's very powerful.
Well, it's an honor for me, and I love what you're doing and the gift you're offering to people. I mean, I just thank you for sharing a few moments with me, and of course, I'll put links so that people can find you and everything that you're doing. But thank you for sharing your love, your consciousness, um, and I hope that this inspires others to travel the road that gets them to find themselves, and they get to share with others too, because I
Yeah.
think I think we're all on that individual journey, but we're all on that group journey too. I took Anna on a beautiful journey with her own special horse. If you had a horse, what kind of journey would you go on? Now, don't let the mind try to create it. If you sit in your open awareness, a journey will appear for you. I invite you to go into it and go along with it, and to discover the gifts and wisdom that lie there, deep within yourself, ready to be revealed. Have a beautiful playtime.